All right, people, we're live on YouTube, a Monday direct message. As most of you guys know, I'm going to be doing these at least through the duration of Corona, but maybe more, maybe forever. The internet is forever. On Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:45 a.m. Pacific, 11:45 a.m. Eastern. This is just my way of connecting directly to you guys. Getting some questions from you, just sort of sharing what's on my mind. As you may remember, for years, I did the direct message as part of the Rubin Report episodes where I would just do, 5 straight minutes with whatever was on my mind of the week. And then in the last year, as the company grew like crazy and everything that we were doing was going wonderfully, I have actually no complaints. And then I started writing the book and everything else. We had to put that by the wayside as we started focusing on other things. And I was also traveling a lot and touring and everything else. So anyway, this is my way of connecting directly with you guys. And it's kind of funny. There's a few things going on right now in the world. I don't know if you know about that. But one of the things is that everybody in television is now basically doing what I've been doing for years, although they're not quite doing it at our level. So everybody, whether it's the ladies of The View or the folks on CNN or Fox or MSNBC or anything like that, they're all now taping their shows from home, mostly from their laptops using Skype. Now we've got our whole studio here. Right now, I'm not letting anyone else into our house. So the only living creatures in our house are me and David and Clyde, who's right over there. And we do have one beta fish named John. He's here too. But as of today, my director, Matt, we bought him a whole bunch of equipment. We put a satellite on our roof, so we have super fast internet right now. And as of today, Matt is actually directing from home. So I'm using my computer for these little live streams. But when we continue to do the show where we're going to be Skyping in, all the usual suspects that you guys have come to know. And we're going to do more fan shows where we Skype a whole bunch of you at once and some other cool stuff. Matt will actually be at home. So we're making sure our guys can still work. We're trying to figure out something with my makeup girl, Alexis. I'm not wearing makeup, people. Can you believe it? Because she's a contract worker and I want to make sure she's taken care of. And I know that 1 million of you, or roughly 3 million of you, are in similar positions as Alexis. I mean, you're trying to figure out what to do if you're a contract worker, if you were just laid off, all of that stuff. And that's what I wanted to talk about this week. Because, we can all argue about stimulus packages and $25 million to the JFK Performing Arts Center, which then lays off the musicians like an hour later. I mean, all of the endless nonsense of how government works. And one of the things I'm enthused by at the moment is when you see big government come in and pour money into all of these pet projects that have nothing to do with helping us. I think a lot of people actually wake up to some of the ideas that I've been talking about here, which is, I'd rather you have your money. Hey, how about we just take less of your money in the first place and you figure out what to do with your life? And I think a lot of people are waking up to that. So I'm pretty enthused about that. But there is a lot of chaos right now. A lot of people are out of work. Just this weekend, I've been doing in the Rubin Report community, which I would love for all of you guys to join at rubinreport.com. And we've got the iOS app and the Google Play app. We've been doing a Sunday afternoon movie. So we did Groundhog Day yesterday, and then we did a giant Zoom call. About 80 people were in there, and people from literally all over the world, and we talk about what's going on. And a bunch of people were saying how they've lost work. Some people were saying that, they've been trapped at home and they're alone and they're getting lonely and all sorts of things. So I think there's new ways for us to connect. There's new ways for us to help each other. And that's something that I want to do, right? Like I've got a platform and a voice right now. So if you are out of work, if you're hurting in any way, if there's anything we can do for you, if you need food delivered to your house, like, you got to contact us. We will try our best to do what we can to help you guys. So I wanted to just give you a couple numbers here. And by the way, these live streams, they're going to be about 20 minutes each because I don't want to bludgeon you, right? Like, everyone's getting slammed with so much content. There's also, like, the way we live is changing really, I think, literally by the minute, in that many people are working from home for the first time. These are adults who are away from their kids, 8-10 hours a day, who suddenly are with their kids all the time. One of the little things that I write about in my book, actually, which still is coming out on April 28th, despite all of this. One of the things I write about is that I think a key thing, and it really applies right now, and I obviously wrote the book well before coronavirus, is don't bring your phone in your bedroom. The last thing that you do at night shouldn't be scrolling through Twitter or reading the news. And the first thing you do in the morning shouldn't be immediately reading the news and Trump this and coronavirus that and CNN and fake news and da-da-da-da-da. This is a bad thing to do. We all fall trapped to it sometimes. Many of us don't have alarms anymore, so we use a phone as an alarm. We actually bought an alarm, like a digital clock. So I would recommend doing that, because as this is all shifting, it's not just that we're home. It's not just that we're around family more, or maybe alone now for the first time in a long time. You know what I mean? If you're single and you live alone, and now you had a lot of communication with humans during the day, and now you don't have any. Like, there's so many things that are not the things that we really talk about in the public sphere. We talk about politics, we talk about this stat and this stat, and we talk about numbers and economics, but there is a human thing happening here that I'm much more interested in. That's what I want to be focusing on. So we have some ways that we can actually help you guys get some help if you need it. But just to rifle through a couple numbers, just so you have a sense of what's going on here. The U.S. unemployment statistics as of last Thursday, jobless claims jumped to 3.28 million, which is quadruple the prior record. So really think about that. That is, the numbers that came in last week are 4 times the highest unemployment we've ever had. Now, we got a major problem, right? Like, lots of businesses are closing. I just read yesterday, Kelly Carlin, who's a good friend of mine who's been on the show, she just tweeted out that Nate and Al's, which is a deli here in Los Angeles, like an old school New York style deli, which is it's a institution, 50 some odd years it's been open. That's where Larry King does most of his breakfasts, and I go with sometimes with his old crew, and it's just basically a bunch of old Brooklyn 80-year-olds telling jokes and talking politics and the rest of it. They've been going there 3 days a week for probably 30 years themselves. They just closed their doors because restaurants don't know what to do. There's a million examples of this. I've heard from some of you guys in the community that your own restaurants have been closing, or that you're trying to keep them open and people are afraid to go out, and the whole series of things. So almost 3.28 million, right? That's almost 3.5 million people filed for unemployment last week, which is just crazy. Nathan on our community actually had a good piece of advice, that Veterans United Home Loans is giving every employee an extra $100 to go spend locally to support businesses that are struggling due to the quarantine, which this idea, support local if you can. It's getting trickier, right? Because we're all jumping to Amazon, and I have no problems with Amazon. I have no problems with big business, actually. I've talked about how I believe Amazon is a great marketplace if you sell small products. They give you the marketplace to find your audience, right? Your consumers. So I have no problem with Amazon, and that's great. And we've ordered a ton of stuff from Amazon, and we got Amazon stuff coming and all that stuff. However, if there are any ways that you can support local businesses, they're struggling. They're struggling more than anybody else. And many local businesses, I'm sure a lot of you know this, they don't have a long runway before they're just completely, underwater. So any way that you can help them, do that. But there's a couple interesting things happening that businesses are doing. And this, again, is where it's like the government can't do everything. And it's so funny because, you have these people now, let's say the entire media establishment and half the country that's been screaming Trump is Hitler, his supporters are Nazis, he's evil, blah, blah, blah. And now they're demanding the government do things. But you wouldn't want the guy that you've been saying is Hitler the whole time to do things. So what's been nice is we're watching that sort of political ideology get to its fruition, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. And I think people are starting to understand that, as I said before. But what we're also seeing is that capitalism and private enterprise is actually doing what it's supposed to do, which is innovating right now. So just a couple things here. So Bednark Studios, which is in New York City, was about to lay off a ton of their employees, but they reconfigured their factory to make plastic shields for healthcare workers, keeping everyone employed. That is a beautiful thing. Bednark Studios, New York City, love it. Nike, have you heard of Nike? They're this small sneaker company. They're working on making medical face shields for frontline healthcare workers. Fantastic. Doctors in New York teamed up with a designer who's printing out tons of plastic shield masks from a 3D printer in her apartment. I mean, 3D printers, man, there's so many cool things we can be doing right now. We are actually rejiggering our economy and the way we think about business right now. It's incredible. New Balance, another little sneaker company, they're producing face mask prototypes in the US. A food delivery service was just created by restaurants that we're in the process of closing to get food to people's doors. It's called Tompkins Home Delivery. James Dyson, you know, the Dyson guy who's always the guy's obsessed with vacuuming basically and air things. He designed a new ventilator in 10 days. He's planning to make $15,000 for the pandemic fight. And a business in Brooklyn's Navy Yard went from building large custom installations to producing only face shields for frontline medical workers. This is just a small smattering of examples. I just wanted to give you a couple things, that there are so many cool examples of this. And by the way, if you know cool examples of this, or if you're in the business of doing these types of things, email us at contact@rubinreport.com and I'll give you guys a shout out. We can post links to websites, all that kinds of stuff. Somebody sent me an email which also made a good point, that buying gift certificates now, if you've got a little bit of money, buying gift certificates for some of your favorite restaurants, for some of your favorite businesses, even if you can't go to them right now, even if they can't deliver right now, whatever it may be, that's a great idea. It gets a little cash in their pocket, helps everybody get through this. And now, we're hearing that this lockdown, it sounds like, is going to go through April 30th at least. Today's March 30th. Oh, happy birthday to my brother Jonathan, by the way. Hope you're watching. Stuck at home, but it'll be all right. We'll play PlayStation later. But buying gift certificates, we've got a month now where we most likely are not going to restaurants. We're not going to be doing a lot of stuff. But if you can get a little money into these companies' pockets, hopefully that gets them through the hump here, gets them over the hump, and then we can go from there. This is a really important one. So a ton of you that are saying that you've lost your job, you don't know what to do. There are companies that are hiring. You just have to know who they are. So let's just give you a list right now. Amazon is hiring 100,000 new workers, and it's going to raise the pay of its current workforce. Okay, good for you, Amazon. We like that. Kroger Supermarkets is hiring right now. I know that there's a couple of them in Jersey that are hiring for sure, but I think they're nationwide. Philips is hiring. Unilever is hiring. Instacart is hiring. Facebook is hiring. Wells Fargo is hiring. Squarespace is hiring. United Healthcare Group is hiring. Charles Schwab is hiring. Spectrum is hiring. USAjobs.gov. Those are just a couple. And I'll throw in a little bit more. The Rubin Report was hiring till last week, but we just brought on our new associate producer, Michael, who just started on Monday. So welcome aboard, Michael. And my other company, Locals, which built RubinReport.com, and we're building digital homes for creators. We are hiring developers right now. So if you're interested, if you're a developer and you're a software guy, you can email jobs@locals.com. And obviously you can be anywhere in the country, quite literally, you can be anywhere in the world, and we're interested. So there's a lot going on here, guys, and I think we can help each other. Let's figure out ways to do it. Let me jump in, take a couple questions from the Rubin Report community. By the way, yesterday's movie was Groundhog Day. So we've been doing this every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. We watch a movie. So we did Contact was the first one. We did Idiocracy 2 weeks ago. We did Groundhog Day yesterday. And Groundhog Day, I'm sure most of you have seen it. It's just a wonderful Bill Murray movie, and it's Jordan Peterson's favorite comedy, because it's just such a wonderful example of how you're supposed to live life, like each moment trying to get better yourself, not to manipulate people, not to get more out of the world, but to actually find yourself true worth, true purpose, true happiness. And that's the story that Bill Murray has to go through throughout the movie. So we watched that, and we did this big Zoom call with about 80 people. It was pretty awesome. So I hope you guys will join us over there. But so we're taking questions from there. Engineering Politics says, what changes do you think will become permanent after this crisis is over? I'm speaking more specifically in terms of work situations. What will change permanently for the Rubin Report employees and workflow? So if we're on the Rubin Report side, as I just mentioned, I mean, my director, Matt, is now working remotely. We bought him all this equipment that he can now direct the show, meaning he can do camera cuts directly and editing remotely and the rest of it. So, maybe in the future, depending what's going on, we'll be doing more Skype and remote things. I mean, I love the live interview, and I hope I'm able to be within 6 feet of other humans soon enough. But we now have great flexibility in that regard. So that's actually nice. I don't know, maybe we'll do more shows on the road, like maybe there's all sorts of interesting things. I think the key thing now is that we all need to make sure that the internet doesn't collapse on us and we don't get bottlenecked and log jammed on the internet, because the LA internet here has been pretty absolutely horrible. So we had to make a major investment last week. And as I said, we now have the satellite for this. Supposedly it's like direct internet. It's just ours, where, when you're on Spectrum or the other stuff, you're sharing internet with a lot of people. So even when they tell you you're getting 500 megabytes download, you're not necessarily actually getting that. So now we have this direct internet thing. So my video should look pretty freaking smooth and clear to you. If it doesn't, there's going to be hell to pay. So that's just in terms of the Rubin Report. I mean, look, we're gonna keep doing live stuff. I think, as I said, it's like right now, I have a home studio. We can do whatever we want. Like, I don't know. At this point, it's like we should probably have a television show out of here. Everybody else is on Skype. It's not even that I'm so interested in doing television per se. But I think, as you watch the CNN people now do their thing from home, it's like nobody really cares about these people anyway. What people cared about was that they were part of this CNN network, and people think back to CNN as if it was like, 1990, 91 in the Gulf War, as if CNN means something. But now when you just see that, these are just people sitting at home, and how do they get their information? Via Twitter and whatever else, it's like they're no better than anybody else. And I think that's going to become increasingly obvious. So this thing where the mainstream media has been collapsing and alternative media has been rising, I think we've been at this sort of parity thing for a while, and I think it's been going like this, but I think we're going to see a major rise in this, because the giant networks, the overhead it takes, the money it takes to do all this stuff. I mean, think about it. Just think about it this way. If you've gotten any worth out of this, I've been talking for about 18 minutes, so I got to finish up here quick. But we can do this slim and trim from my home. Clyde, you want to come over here and say hi to everybody? He's just staring at me. Okay. We can do it slim and trim with low cost, and I can get you, I think I've given you some valuable information, and hopefully you guys will jump in the comment section and everything else and share information with each other and all that. Watch CNN tonight. I mean, it costs them, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do episodes. It's a tremendous amount of waste, and you're not really getting information. You're getting things that'll just keep you in the political fight all the time. All right, couple others real quick. Kevin asks, what's your go-to stress relief strategy? You know what? One of the things that I find really important is you have to have a cutoff from the news and the mania of everything. So I really try, if we usually have dinner something around 7:30 or so. And then after dinner, it's like I really try not to be on my devices. At that point, it's like I'm just trying to. We've been watching The Sopranos, actually, is what we're doing. We just finished season 1. We're in season 2 now. David's actually never seen The Sopranos before, and I missed the first 2 seasons. So I'm absolutely loving it. I mean, it's true. It's like filmmaking true. All right, now there's Clyde. You want to get your nose in here? Yeah, we'll go down on the camera a little bit. I want to say hi, Clyde. All right, there we go. Oh, you guys will love this. So I'm walking down the street yesterday. I'm walking with Clyde, and everybody's on lockdown. And this guy yells. He goes, Dave Rubin, and Clyde, I love you, man. Clyde, I love you. And it turns out that my neighbor saw me on Dana Perino with Clyde the other day, and he was more into Clyde than me. But then in the weirdest twist, he's telling me, he watches Dana all the time. He loves her. And then he's like, oh, yeah, and I grew up in the same town as you. I grew up in Syosset, Long Island. Oh, and it turns out we went to the same middle school and high school. So we chatted for a while, and he was a big record executive. So anyway, I even mention this more because it's like, get out there, take some walks. I'm finding the dog walking people are still connecting with humans. You know what I mean? We can still let the dog sniff and keep our 6 feet. But I'm seeing more and more people take walks. I'm seeing a lot of kids on skateboards and all kinds of stuff. So just keep trying to figure out how to have those connections however you can. So for me, it's about having some sort of sensible cutoff time. And I fail at it sometimes, you know what I mean? And then suddenly, or a commercial, if I'm watching regular TV, a commercial come on, I jump on my phone. And I just think controlling some of that stuff will be really good for you guys. I also think I know this is going to sound crazy, but a very simple thing to do in the morning is when you get up. I usually get up, I open the door so Clyde can pee. And then before I do anything, I just have a glass of water. And I actually think there's some value in that. I don't know if it's just actually the gulping of it, or just the calming feeling, or your body needs a little H2O to get you going. But there's something about the reset that I like there. Okay, let me do one more. People whose work, this is Max Justice, people whose work depends on large crowds like concerts, conventions, sporting events are pretty much over until viable treatment or cure is implemented. I'm a jib operator and drone operator, and it's time to adapt or die. Any thoughts on when large crowds will be acceptable again? Man, speaking of jib operators, first off, I have huge appreciation for you guys because the jib is not easy to move. It is work. I've known many jib guys, and you get back pain and all sorts of stuff. So first off, hope you're doing all right. You're probably enjoying a little bit of a break, actually. Well, look, we don't know. I just found out, so we do know this for sure. So our tour was supposed to start on April 28th in New York. As I said, the book is still coming out on April 28th, but the tour obviously has been totally postponed. We know we're on national lockdown now through April 30th. So that is a month from today. So, we've been doing this for about 3 weeks already. So, we're looking at a 2-month situation here, and then hopefully it ends at April 30th, but we'll see. But we don't know when the events are going to come again. I talked to my whole team, and it's like we're trying to figure out when we can reschedule things and all that. I mean, everybody's in limbo, so nothing's moving. What I do hope, though, and I genuinely don't mean this just for me, I mean this for everybody, is that when we get past this thing and we can start being out there again and going out, I hope we really all do it. I hope that we don't have this residual fear, a residual unwarranted fear, as long as it is unwarranted. And I will go out. I will tour as many cities as I can. If I have to be out on the road for a year, I will do it. I miss connecting with you guys. I really do. A friend of mine messaged me something that was interesting. He's single. He lives in New York City. And he said, Dave, I haven't touched anyone for about 20 days. And he meant just like hug somebody or shake somebody's hand or something like that. Like he said, I haven't had human physical contact, in weeks. I thought that's really interesting. Like just the idea that, it's important to like actually reach out and touch another human is important. So I don't know, there's so many things going on right now. But anyway, I really do hope, and I think what will happen actually is there will be a renaissance after this. We were talking about last week. I think everyone, I know you person watching this right now, I just know you're thinking about the world in a different way. We're all thinking, whoa, are all the systems we had before this adequate? Do I have the right job? Do I suddenly like working from home? Are the people that I'm trapped in my house with, do I like these people? Do I want to be with these people? I mean, I think there's so many things we're all thinking about right now. Am I wasting my life at some job I don't like? Like all of that stuff. Should I be working out more? Should I be eating healthier? One of the things we're really trying to do is we're conserving as much food as possible. So normally I make a French press full of coffee every morning, and then I have my cup and a half or something, and I usually spill out the rest. I'm now putting it into a glass jar, put it in the fridge, and then I have that the next day. So we're doing that. We're taking, the butts of onions and growing new onions that I'm planting on the side of the house. We started doing it with romaine lettuce. You can cut it, put it in a little water, and start growing romaine from romaine. Whew, it's incredible science. It's amazing, right? So there's lots of stuff that we can all do. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up, though, because we want to keep these somewhat short. But remember, every Monday and Wednesday, 8:45 a.m. Pacific, 11:45 a.m. Eastern. And if you want to submit questions or just be part of what we're really growing as just, I really think, a great community where we're helping each other out and we're talking through it and we're sharing food, we're sharing recipes, we're sharing music, all sorts of stuff. Join us at RubinReport.com and just let us know what's going on with you and how we can help and all that good stuff. And I hope you all have a great day and, just keep on keeping on. All right.